So yes, I am the head agronomist for the BFA, the only agronomist for the BFA, so that's easy. And I was asked to come here to talk about soil testing and soil minerals. It's a relatively small group, so in the interest of not boring you, I'm going to basically give you just a quick overview of some concepts and then open up to a lot of questions. So hopefully you brought some questions this evening. So the first thing we'll talk about is how to take a soil test. I get lots of questions on it. There's lots of people who do it incorrectly. There's lots of different ways you can do it correctly, but you have to know some of the things that you can do in taking the sample will influence how you read the results and what you do with that information. So, all right, so who here has gotten a soil test done or taken a soil test? Okay, most of you. So how many of you use something like this? All right, and how many use something like this? Or a larger version of this? Yeah. So when you take your soil test, how many different sampling sites did you use? Mark, why don't I put you on the spot?
I've got a maybe 400 or 500 square foot garden. I probably took a dozen samples.
Dozen?
Yeah.
Is that 15? 15? Okay, good. All right. So, all right. And now the next question is, when you take your samples, are you putting it in a bucket? Are you putting it in a bag? What are you doing with your cores that you take? The way I recommend doing it is if you put it into a bucket, for instance, that you don't mix it and then take a part of that and ship it, because it's very difficult for you to get a homogeneous mixture of the soil cores. So generally speaking, you mix in a bucket, inevitably things will clump together and you may end up getting a whole bunch of like the surface material or the deeper material. So what I generally recommend is that you try to take your cores. If you do it using a tool like this, it's really easy. You take 8, 10, 12 cores, you put them straight in a bag and you ship it. Easy peasy. Using a trowel, it's a little harder, or a shovel, because you end up with a larger piece of soil. So what I recommend doing is when you take your soil core, however you do it, whether you use a PVC pipe, you slam into the ground and pull out, or if you use a shovel or a trowel, that what you do is you lay it out flat and you try to basically cut a uniform sliver, 6 inches or so deep, that basically looks like what a core takes out of the soil, and that goes straight in the bag. No mixing or anything involved. That way you're mitigating the variables of where that soil is coming from in the soil profile. And what I mean by that is whether you're getting soil at the top versus soil 6 inches down.
So what lab do you send it to?
So I recommend Logan Labs. There are lots of labs, obviously. I recommend Logan because I have a lot of, their results have been consistent. I have a lot of experience using them. The numbers match up to what I'm used to. There are a number of ways to do a soil test in terms of chemically extracting the minerals and giving a readout. And when you follow the BFA recommendations, the Logan numbers are what we are basing our recommendations on. So if you get a soil test at UConn, you can't use our recommendations. You'd have to find someone who is an expert on UConn's soil test. Whether there's anyone who can actually do that or not, I'm not sure. So that's the other thing that I want to bring up about soil testing. When I say Logan and soil tests, what I am referring to is what they call their standard test. Their standard test is the Malic 3 soil test as opposed to the saturated paste test or ammonium acetate test. The standard is Malic 3, and it is for extracting basically the theoretical plant available minerals. It's not the water soluble available today. That would be the saturated paste test. And it's not a total elemental analysis, would be all the minerals that are in the soil, period, full stop. So the Malic 3 attempts to get you a number of what is on the soil colloid, available for plants to utilize if the microbes and everything else is present and working for you. Which is not, of course, always the case, but that's the number that we use when we're making recommendations. If you get those numbers balanced according to the BFA recommendations and those that are in the ideal soil and the website Organic Calc and many other similar recommendation sort of schemes. If you get the numbers balanced, then that would be that balanced, ideal cation balanced soil, and you'll get good results. If, for instance, you do a saturated paste test, you can't use the same recommendations. Things look very different on different types of tests. So make sure you always look for that. You want a Malic 3 extraction. On a Logan, it's a standard. And it'll be called different things on many different labs call them different things, but Malic 3 is the standard technical sort of word